Welcome to Smells Like Potential, the rewatch podcast you didn't know you needed. Because football is life, we are kicking into two aces.
In this one, we get to see Ted's philosophy start working. It starts working on Roy, Jamie, and the rest of the team. We lift a curse, unite a team, and Ted even cracks his biscuit recipe.
Yum,
Yay! But there's still room for disappointment and sadness in this deep episode.
right? We start with this psychological phenomenon called semantic satiation. Even that is hard to say. Semantic
Gotta
satiation.
say that again.
And Ted's going plan, 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 right? So, what is semantic satiation? Our neural pathways get fatigued, so the word just becomes a list of sounds and it loses its meanings. It happens again with both Beard and Ted saying the word ace. What do they end up with? Right, two Freelies.
If the performers in Kiss, then that's pretty funny because his first name is Ace. I've had this happen, by the way. I don't know if you have, but I've been speaking. I do a lot of speaking, and you get to a point where you repeat a word and you're like, what does that even mean? It's just sound coming out of my mouth. It doesn't have any
Right?
sort of associated meaning.
Educational bingo.
Yes.
So it did not happen for Ted with the it's just practice moment from Jamie. It's just practice is actually in reference to Allen Iverson's practice quote from May 7th of 2002. So we're looking at 24 years ago
Right.
now.
Yeah. And it was 18 at that point, but still, this is a powerful connection between real world and Ted Lasso world. He says the word 22 times when he does
Wow.
this, what seems like a rant at a player. He says the word practice 22 times. Also, Allen Iverson said it 22 times. It's trying to get Jamie around his idea of being a team player. And it's important to note that Jason Sudeikis has said that yes, it's absolutely a reference to Allen Iverson's rant at reporters. It was not meant to be played for comedic effect. He felt that Iverson's speech was essentially a protest song because he himself had experienced a terrible loss of his best friend just months earlier, suddenly. And he was working through his own mental health issues. And as we will see later in this show, mental health becomes a huge part of it. The conversation and the taboo around it becomes something that Ted Lasso takes on specifically. So I think this was already working in the writers' minds and certainly in Jason's mind. He says it's not funny. I took a protest song that Allen Iverson used in that moment and I turned it into an opera charged with more emotion. So a powerful example of taking real life, using it in this comedic show to make a point and to bring Jamie around to seeing things differently. And I think in that moment, he wins over other members of the team. We start to see that Isaac is on board, Colin is on board, and obviously Roy, he's already won him over. But this is a pivotal moment when there's bad behavior and Ted calls it out, the rest of the team notices.
Right? And the high school teacher in me watching Jamie's physical responses and his facial expressions, Phil Dunster nailed that high school. I'm being
Yes.
called out for bad behavior. I don't care what you're saying to me. Like, so the teacher in me wants to applaud Phil for giving Jamie all of the right reactions in that.
Yeah. And he doesn't get a lot of credit. Phil Dunster was the last of the main cast to actually be nominated for an Emmy and win. He did win. So this is one of the rare TV shows that wins for Best Actor, which is astonishing. But yeah, he was the last one to win that, and I think it was an underappreciation by those voting. And then you noticed something about the angle, the touch that they used at the very end of this scene. There's a Dutch angle, which, if you aren't familiar, it's just sort of a tilted camera and it's meant to suggest in cinematic language that something's off kilter. We naturally, as an audience, feel off kilter looking at a Dutch angle. And here, is it Ted being off the handle? Is it Jamie not joining in and being a member of the team? Or is it a combination of those two things? But the way they frame it, both of the two men's full bodies are in the shot. Whereas if you shot it straight, you would only get portions of their bodies or cut off heads or legs. So I thought it was a very, very powerful cinematic choice in that moment.
Right? And they also talk about cinema at the Crown and Anchor. They're arguing about Martin Scorsese's best work, which was delightful just having all of these movies listed because I'm like, watched it, seen it, watched it.
Yep.
And then I had a personal connection because towards the end, Beard yells out Cape Fear. I'm like, oh, I'm watching Apple TV. They have a new Cape Fear out with Javier Bardem and Amy Adams. I've only seen 3 episodes as of today. I'm not sleeping for like the next week and a half.
All right. Well, maybe I don't put that on my to-do list. I
Oh,
did
the
see
acting.
yeah, I did see the movie, and if you thought Robert De Niro was intense and powerful in his other roles, boy, he is menacing in this one. And so I feel
Yes.
like it's that menacing spirit that he embodies in the movie, and I imagine that the characters embody in the TV show as well, that carries on into an opportunity to remove a curse. In this case, or several spirits. They talk about how their treatment room is cursed, and they decide to band together as a team. Ted, I think, immediately recognizes that this is a moment to unite the team with a shared experience. But it also plays into his earlier statement that he does believe in ghosts, but he finds it more important that they believe in themselves. So it aligns with that from a comedic standpoint, but it also gives him an opportunity to give the team a shared experience and to essentially exercise whatever might be eating at individual players. And it's a beautiful opportunity for us to learn more about members of the team, some of whom had never received lines until now.
Right. The stories of the objects that they were releasing, that these are fully thought out characters that have had backstories that we're not exactly entitled to, but hearing about Blanky or Richard with his sand,
And we get an eye roll from Rebecca at that moment.
right? That what
Oh, and
was
Sam's
important to
dream.
them. I oh, Sam's dream. Yes, and saying, "I never thought I would take this off the wall, but this team is more important to me."
Yeah, those sacrifices were powerful. And as you said, we get to learn more about them. Specifically, Jamie was the one who came in at the very end, interrupted them. They were about to light it on fire, and he says, I'd like to go. After telling Keeley he would never go, it's not his thing, and he always is different. He stands apart from other players. And I think it was hearing those words come out of his mouth that made him rethink that he always stands apart. And that's maybe why he's not one of the 11. He's not a team player because he's been pushed into this by his parents. And so he speaks about his mother, who just wants him to be a good lad and have fun on the field and didn't care whether he won or lost or was good on the field. But contrast that with once he started becoming a better player, his dad started pushing, pushing, pushing. He had to not just be good, he had to dominate. He had to be better than everyone else. So it made him want to be hard instead of soft. So he sees Ted's way as soft up until this moment. It gives us an amazing insight, and it reminds us of a phrase that we've said before, I think, that hurt people hurt people. And so he
Mhm.
was hurt by his father. He realized that he really did not enjoy his father's motivation. His form of support was contingent on winning, was contingent on dominating. His mother's support was unconditional. She supports him still. And so his recovery from that upbringing is perhaps the reason why he's being the way he is. So it's very, very insightful for the audience and I think for the rest of the team.
Right. You mentioned that Rebecca actually showed up to this team building exercise. And how did she get there? Well, Sam came into the office and invited her to this event, and she thought he was asking for a date. And I went, oh, foreshadowing.
Yes. Yes. If you know, you know.
If you know, you know. And there was another moment with Rebecca, Ted, and Higgins. And we saw that Higgins made an intentional choice for the team
Yes.
and that he is no longer looking to serve Rebecca's ultimate goal of destroying the team. And what happened in that moment? Rebecca
She
gets revenge.
She does. She makes the decision. And it reminds me to earlier in the episode where Keeley says to Rebecca to F off, and Higgins starts laughing because he imagines himself telling her that. And then she starts laughing because she can't imagine him saying that. Then she just dismisses him. This really is him telling her in not so many words to F off. He's saying, I will choose team over job. And if I suffer the consequences, so be it. So that was a full circle moment within the space of an episode.
Absolutely.
Now we got to also see that Roy is backing Jamie. because and it's a lighthearted moment because Dani Rojas shows up with a bottle of mezcal that he wants to sacrifice, and they go, no, 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 let's just drink that. And
Ghosts prefer empty bottles.
yes, ghosts prefer empty bottles, but in that moment, he is for the first time backing something that Jamie has put forward. He's welcoming Jamie into the team now that he has exercised the pain that he suffered with his father. So I think that is really powerful, and it's played for a comedic effect as well, which is pretty cool.
Right?
Uh,
And such an introduction for Danny to join the team.
yes. And he
Oh,
matches Ted's energy. It's just fabulous. The fact that Cristo Fernandez, who plays Dani Rojas, when he auditioned for this role, he made a tape and he was trying to embody the energy of what he imagined this Dani Rojas character would be like. And out of his mouth came the phrase, "Football is life." And then he promptly forgot that. So when he got the role and then he got the script, he saw, oh, football is life. Okay. And then one of the writers later told him, you know, that was your line. We added it because of you in your audition. And he said, what? And he goes, yes, you said that first. So he now owns it, the actor. And by the way, professional football player. He's back on a team. So yay. He was professional beforehand and then acted, and now he's professional again. So it's just so beautiful that phrase that so embodies his character came from the actor in that moment, and the writers spotted it, said that's perfect for him. It's amazing. He's the raven-haired golden retriever, as Ted calls him. And it is also a good phrase too, because life is the combination of everything, right? It's not just a joyous phrase, football is life. It is also can be a sad phrase that, you know, life has sad moments. So at the end, when they lose Jamie, it's Danny that comes to make them feel better. And he says it differently. He says football is life, meaning sometimes not everything goes your way.
right. It's one of those phrases that has multiple meanings depending on the emphasis of the syllable.
Yes, exactly.
We also get to see a reporter have a line. Her name is Sarah, and Ted acknowledges Sarah. She is currently brunette in this episode, so come back in season 2 and let's see what
Yeah.
happens to Sarah.
Yes, we also get to see Zero and Bumbercatch, not Cumberbatch. Bumbercatch is the name of the player. Both are established players on the team that haven't yet gotten a line, but they will, I think, at some point later. Uh,
Right, you were telling me that the cast and crew were super complimentary of the
yes.
actor that plays Bumbercatch.
Yes, when asked, because this seemed to be a sort of a standard question that reporters would ask, they would say, "Okay, but who's really the best soccer player on the team?" So all the players point to Bumbercatch, who's the actor's name is Mo Hashim, and he is generally regarded by the actors on the team as the best actual soccer player on the team, which is high praise. Now we do have a book club reference, and if you don't mind, I'm going to jump in with this one. Sam admits to loving Harry Potter, and that's why he's sort of into ghosts and the supernatural. And it drives him out of nowhere. He just shares this with Rebecca that he really loves the idea of someone becoming rich because of what they gave to the world, not just because of who their family is. It speaks to something core in his personality, the fact that you can raise yourself up with talent or with capabilities or what you give to the world. And I think it's a fun little reference there, and it counts as part of our book club because we didn't have a lot of books. We did have Roy reading, he's still finishing his book when Keeley comes up and talks to him. But other than that, we didn't have a lot of book club.
Right, no new books being introduced. Oh, season 4 suggestion box time.
Yes.
I Speaking of Keeley walking on the treadmill while Roy is reading A Wrinkle in Time, she mentions Winner Winner Football Dinner as a rap that Roy performed in. Season 4, I need the single Winner Winner Football Dinner.
Yes, yeah, I think so. I think we need that as a motivating force right alongside the story of wearing pajamas to prom. So take note, writers. We want to see it. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you tomorrow for our reaction to season 1, episode 7. Make Rebecca great again.
And our closing quote, Sam says, "Wait, so coach, how do we fix this? We can't change the past."
No, Sam, we cannot. But we can choose to honor it.